Insane deja vu. You must have some insane deja vu, bro.
Oh,
Dude, who the fuck is Hero? I don't know that guy.
Yeah, dude. Who even?
yeah. I mean, I hope a sword guy appear in here, man. I hope a guy who loves swords appear in here, though. I hope they.
Right? It was like,
Yeah, that's what.
人生におけるあらゆる選択、些細なものから大事なものまで選んでいるのではなく選ばされているとしたらどうだろう。無限の可能性などというものは幻想である。人はどれだけあがこうとも定められた道の上から降りられない。止める者は止めるように、貧しき者は飢えるように、善人は善人として、悪人は悪人として。美しき者、醜き者、強き者、弱き者、幸福な者、不幸な者、そして勝つ者、負ける者、すべて初めからそうなるように、それ以外の者にはなれぬように定められていたとしたらどうだろう。ならばどのような咎人にも罪はなく、聖人にも徳などない。
Recording, streaming, being back, creating both backups.
Why would we need backup, though? You know, we would do this all in one take.
Would you feel content with a world where you had to constantly redo the same take?
I mean, yeah, because we're not doing that.
持たざる者らは一片の罪とがなしに虐げられて許せるか。いいな、断じていいな。
never, I say, never.
それを知った上で笑える者など、生きるということの意味を忘れた劣等種、人とは呼べぬ奴隷だろう。気の抜けた勝利の酒ほど今日のそげるものはない。運命とやらに舐めさせられる敗北ほど耐え難い苦渋はない。このような屈辱を、このような茶番劇をただ繰り返し続けるのが人生だ。
This farce, this singular recording that has never happened before.
What kind of protagonist gets tetanus from touching a solid stationary blade?
Well, once our brethren. I don't know, man. I don't think the yeah. Well, your guys' outfits were cool, but calling you guys brethren is a bit too much. According to what I was told in Japanese, it was only, you know, we were
Yeah, 10,000 over to
100,000.
Thanks.
no, 5 quadrillion, right?
That's an escalation. That's an escalation.
Colonel victory. Okay, but how many times are you gonna need to need to do to get victory? That was the question.
Just the once. Because obviously we've never recorded this before.
Oh yeah, no. I haven't even heard of the name. Dies Irae.
I mean, dude,
Let us believe that the decision is meaningful.
I totally didn't do that. It totally isn't irritating. How about this length?
That one day we can break free from this perpetually repeating recording session.
Luckily, that's not us, right? Like, this is once more.
This is entirely a story of fiction, and in real life, events never have to repeat ever.
Exactly.
That would only happen in a fictional story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Time loops aren't real.
Yeah. Because time loops have to make sense, right? Unlike reality, which doesn't.
May 1st, 1945.
We're starting.
Berlin, Germany. 12:27 a.m. The closing act of the Second World War was the manifestation of total war such as had never been seen before. No, the term carnage would have been more appropriate. Outmanned in every way, Berlin stood in complete isolation, slipping towards the crevice of annihilation. The nearly 500,000 troops marching under the banner of the Red Army had already surrounded the capital, making escape virtually impossible. Guns roared, mingling with the screams of the dying in an incessant cacophony of terror as the city was razed and its people massacred. Bloodshed, carnage, all in order to eradicate the enemies of this world, be they young or old, man or woman. Justice, revenge, love, peace, oppression, liberty, equality. The slogan one chose to attach to the horror made little difference. The chaos engulfing the bloody streets demonstrated quite readily the atrocities that would manifest when man was presented with a convenient higher cause to justify them with. Yes, for example, casting flare. In this corner of the city, a blinding light flashed, followed by a roaring explosion. This latest bombardment sent even more soldiers, at least 3 whose silhouettes were still recognizably human, to their deaths, spreading their remains across the pavement.
Flare! Wait. Oh, no, I see bastard.
Letting out a loud curse, a man leapt out of the trenches with Panzerfaust in hand. Protected by the covering fire of his allies' schmeizes, he dashed over into effective firing range. He rose to his knees, took aim, and pulled the trigger, firing a heat warhead. The projectile shot forward, smashing right into the flank of a tank. Its armor dissolved in accordance with the Newman effect, and the tank imploded in a torrent of liquefied metal and 1,000-degree flames. I can't believe they were torrenting things back in the 1940s. Piracy is an eternal practice.
It is.
The man tossed aside his Panzerfaust, and, backed by comrades from behind, started cleaning up his remaining foes with his Mauser. Such was war. It allowed no time for idle thoughts. Only slaughter, murder, and bloodshed. No man could keep his sanity in this hell. And so the perpetrators of this chaos howled and raged, never looking back, reveling in boundless insanity to keep their blood afire. Within this flaming wasteland of gunplay, soldiers single-mindedly continued their murderous dance as if it was some ungodly ritual. Of course, in reality, it was all but child's play. Soldiers against soldiers, rifles against pistols. No matter how fiercely they fought in this battlefield, the outcome of this war was already set in stone. I wonder who talked about this before. The Third Reich had crumbled.
What happened like twice?
The ambitions of its visionary leader lost in the flames of war. No, this is the first time this has ever happened.
Oh, wait, this is the first time World War II has ever happened?
Yeah, of course.
Wait, I mean... oh, right, okay, yeah. If it was, I think if it was, then I don't think this would have been called World War II.
What remained on that tattered battlefield was the shaken remnants of the defeated, and the mob of the victors, flocking like vultures to the smell of decaying flesh. Certain death. Inescapable defeat. Any attempt to retaliate was merely a self-serving act of revenge with no hope of salvation. The situation had surpassed anything that might elicit notions of despair, transforming into no more than an absurd comedy of sorts. And yet...
Kill them! Kill them! Kill them all!
His heart beat still. His hand gripped steel. He would not stop so long as there were enemies to kill.
To ultra kill.
Zeta Flare! Wait, that's...
No, that wasn't Zeta Flare. That's just dual casting Flare like a red mage. For it was his sworn duty, if there existed even one thing, anything at all, to justify this hellfire, be it sheer insanity, then that by itself would have been a blessing in disguise. Honor and glory, debased and disgraced, worth less than pig shit, and yet human life remained the cheapest currency. That was reality.
Is this all that's left of us?
After wiping out all leftover foes and regrouping with his comrades, it dawned upon the man that there were only 3 of them left standing, himself included. The company tasked with protecting this block had been completely annihilated. The situation was anything but promising, and still more enemies were on their way.
What about our Panzerfausts?
You just used the last one, Master Sergeant. This is the end for us. The war is lost.
The young man flashed a bitter smile as he handed over his Schmeiser to the other. The older man glared at him, but offered no more in the way of reproach.
The war is lost.
Indeed, that was the bitter truth of it. Berlin had fallen, the company massacred, and the remaining 3 soon to join them.
Well, not that it matters at this point. Would be nice if we could at least go out with a bang, though. It's not like we've anywhere to flee.
Your name, soldier?
Joachim Browner. What about you, sir?
Walter Gerlitz. I suppose we all rather know the names of the men we'll be dying with. You there!
The Master Sergeant, Walter Gerlitz, directed his gaze at the final survivor of the company, a young boy who had thus far remained silent.
Your name?
The boy, eyes darting as he failed to hide his shock, was even younger than Joachim, barely in his teens. If Walter had a son, he might have been around the same age.
Marco Schmidt, sir.
I see.
Walter was about to ask what a mere child was doing there, but ultimately swallowed his words. It was a foolish question. The enemy would show no mercy to them, not even to children. The reason for it was very clear. They were the bitter enemies of the Red Army, the despised members of the Schutzstaffel. Even if they were to surrender, the Soviets were doubtlessly uninterested in taking them as prisoners. As such, fighting until their last breath was the only option left to them. Walter was certain that Joachim was ready to give his life for the fatherland. The boy, on the other hand...
What will become of Berlin? No, of Germany after the war is over? And what of our friends and family?
You're asking the wrong man. It's always the same shit. The victors will paint us as inhuman monsters and mete out whatever justice they deem appropriate. Give me a break.
Joachim shed his disaffected act and started talking like Walter. The bitter tone in his voice making his true position on the situation clear. See, that mistake is the proof that this is the first time this has ever happened. It definitely didn't repeat exactly like that in a previous iteration. That has never happened.
Oh yeah, nah. I mean, deja vu. Whoa, deja vu.
My mother and sister lived in Dresden, but they got caught in the bombing. Never so much as found a piece of them. They call us monsters. Ridiculous. We were merely fighting to protect our fatherland. And yet those bastards. Who the hell do they think they are?
Is the Nazi soldier
he would never surrender. Yet even if he gave his life in the battle to come, the outcome of the war had already been decided. Nothing could change that, least of all himself. Go on what you're saying, Zeke.
The Nazi soldier going, those heartless, evil monsters is kind of insane.
That's every soldier.
To be fair, it is the Soviets.
Well, the average, not all of them were like guarding concentration camps.
With this defeat, their fatherland and their descendants would. A single soldier was powerless to alter the great current of a war. Joachim tried to express his dissatisfaction with that reality as best as he could, while Marco silently listened.
So, if I have nothing else left, at least... Shit!
Would they have been happier? So what are they saying? They would have been happier if they weren't getting fucked over by Soviets? And it would have been happier if it was Americans shooting them down?
Several rifle shots echoed from their left just then, from inferiorly engineered Soviet rifles instead of superior American engineering.
Of course.
Walter and Marco just barely managed to duck into cover, but Joachim was not so fortunate. His head was shot clean off by the first wave, followed by an entire volley of bullets being unloaded into his chest. They really wanted to make sure he was dead.
Wait for some
Bro,
God damn it!
God damn it!
That's like, Joachim can't speak, he doesn't have a head!
Joachim's dead! He's dead!
Pelted by a machine gun, Joachim's body contorted in a queer manner, almost reminiscent of some sort of dance, before finally hitting the ground. I'd say Happy Pride Month, but that was ended in a time when a first session might have happened if we started earlier.
Yeah, deja vu though. Wait.
An anticlimactic finale indeed for the youth who had only moments prior expressed his desire to fight to the bitter end. Go on.
Bullet victim? Bullet victim?
Yeah.
But such was the reality of the situation. The reality of war. There were no heroes here, no messiahs or miracles to save them, only men dying like insects. And should one allow his soul to be overcome by wrath or despair when confronted with this knowledge, it would serve only to invite the jaws of death to consume him next. The chaos of war would not tolerate idle thoughts. Knowledge of one's duty was all that was necessary.
Schmidt! Answer me, Schmidt!
As Walter rolled into the safety of a ruined building, he shouted the name of his lone surviving comrade with all the strength he could muster. But instead of words, another flare was cast. The sole reply he received was yet another flash, followed by a fiery explosion. The upper half of the young boy's body was flung at Walter's feet. The cramped alleyway was heavy with the stench of blood and scorched entrails. Walter powerlessly dropped to his knees in the vast sea of blood.
Sergeant Major, forgive me for not being of more use.
Marco smiled even as the last embers of his life faded away. It was unbelievable someone could still form words in a state such as this. Walter took the boy's hand.
Why didn't you dodge?
I don't want to die. If I die here, then what have we been fighting for all this time? Hon, are we the baddie? Sir, please tell me, are we monsters? Berlin and Germany?
You mustn't talk!
As the gunfire continued, a brand new tank rolled onto the battlefield. You couldn't really tell it was brand new because it was made with Soviet engineering. Marco Schmidt was beyond help. Not even God could save him now.
Him.
Are we the baddies?
And so,
Well, you're
Walter's
not a soldier.
Walter's rightful place now was on the battlefield, his hand clutching a gun, and not the hand of a dying soldier. His ears lent not to the naive parting remarks of a boy, but straining to hear the breathing of his enemy. He knew that better than anyone, and yet...
Have we committed sin? Does that make this our punishment? I know there's no pride in war and murder, but we...
Joachim, Walter, and so many other German soldiers just like them had done nothing more than take up arms to protect their fatherland and loved ones. Was that truly a sin?
Wait, does that mean Marco is Joachim is a gun victim, Marco was an artillery victim?
Does he scale higher? Does the child scale higher?
Exactly.
Being died to a kid isn't even dead yet.
Yeah, he's not even dead. He's still having like a soliloquy.
Yeah. But he's still like he's still a victim of like tank fire. But he's still a tank fire victim. But you know, he lived.
Surrounded by the flames of the dying capital, the young boy spoke in mere disjointed fragments, voicing a question Walter himself would have loved to pose to the heavens above.
The power skilling one?
Would Batman beat Superman, Sergeant Major?
Most likely the boy is stronger than the man.
This is Walter, by the way, Sabs.
Yeah.
Most likely.
No, it's the boy against the slimy older boy.
Yet after mere seconds of doubt, Walter answered curtly.
Waging war is no sin. Losing a war is.
Such was the way of the world. A cruel, bitter truth. Walter found within himself a growing resentment for the Lord.
I see. I like to win our next one then. Holy shit, this is a setup for World War...
Marco Schmidt then quietly passed away in Walter's arms, the man gazing up at the heavens. The young soldier's smile in death, albeit tainted with blood and mud, still held traces of boyhood. That's Walter, by the way, Sebs.
Walter.
Renat Schmidt, for honor.
A bitter smile mirroring Marco's crept onto Walter's face.
We will claim the next one. If not, then the next one. Or the one after that. Even if we are doomed to repeat this outcome a million times before knowing victory. Of a recording session.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what are you talking about? This is the first recording session.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of you guys are crazy, man.
His words might have seemed the ramblings of a lunatic beset by the armies of death, because they were, and this is the first recording session. But they were more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy
Walter cocked his Schmeiser, hit play on hit record on his camera, confirmed it was loaded, then charged out of the ruined building into the open.
Well, speaking of recording, just to make sure, is everything being recorded? Just so we don't have to do a second, Sorry.
Yeah, of course. It's everything's set up. This will be the only World War II ever. He unconsciously let out a battle cry loud enough that it threatened to rend his throat. Would he end up gunned down like Joachim, or share the same fate as Marco? It hardly mattered anymore. Either way, he'd merely die a miserable death befitting this miserable war.
It determines a lot. Do you want your scaling to be gun level or like cannon level?
His mind was occupied by such despaired thoughts that the fans might label him a fraud. In no way could he have predicted what was to come next.
Upscale? It's an upscaled?
Alright, Jolly, this is you.
Alright, Jolly.
Pater noster King, Caelis et sanctificator nomen tuum. Requiem aeternam dona eis, Dom et lux cruciat eis.
It was his soldier's intuition that drove Walter to reflexively take shelter. He knew his durability scaling wasn't good enough to handle what was about to happen.
Holy shit, that's an upscale! That's an upscale!
His vision was
Dude,
drowned
someone
out by a
fucking cast
blinding
it.
white light.
That's why he's the
Someone
sergeant
got me here.
major. That's why he's the goat.
An explosion so fierce it dwarfed all previous bombardments. An explosion that seemed to rip apart the very heavens. And we mean that literally for all you power scalers out there. Walter realized that this explosion was far beyond the level of any weapon that could have possibly been employed in urban warfare. Also for the power scalers out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Nuke level. This is nuke level.
It's
What
above
the
a nuke
world?
level.
Oh, you're right.
It
It's
happened.
heavens. You're right. It's infinite scaling. He's still alive.
We don't know the feats of heaven here.
The city
you're
he
right,
had
yeah,
literally
you're
staked
right.
his life to protect had been reduced to a charred wasteland.
Take
Although it
City
took
level.
quite a while for Walter to regain his sight and hearing, there was still not enough time for him to make sense of the situation. Part of him wondered if it was all a sick joke, like Dreamworld scaling. Only one thing was clear. Both his allies' corpses and the encroaching enemy troops had been annihilated. Go on, Zhang.
I was gonna say he's only gonna get upscaled from here, isn't he? Once we learn heaven is heaven tier, you know? We'll be like, oh
Scaling.
shit, Marco. Yeah. Walter upscale every time heavens get above Walter and Walter upscale.
No bombing raid could have inflicted such immense damage. Power scalers take notes. And although Walter had managed to survive the attack itself, his resulting wounds were deep. Pieces of steel and concrete blasted in his direction by the explosion and pierced his back and flank. The hand that once held his Schmeiser was blown off from the elbow. It wasn't even worth the effort to attempt to discern the number of more minor injuries. His incessant, bloody vomit told him that he had also sustained severe internal damage. He would not make it. Walter, that's you.
Fuck.
Walter swore blindly, no longer certain of the target of his indignation. Just then, the voice from before rang out again.
Saudi, man.
You still with us, Jolly? You're cutting out just a little bit.
Yeah, also on mine, but so it's probably.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay.
There you are.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you now. That's way clearer.
Hello.
Okay. Ato Miss Caro Beniet. Advertere anima mea in requiem tuam, quia Dominus benefactivi.
It was a requiem offered up to fallen soldiers. One sung in a beautiful voice. Not even a prestigious church choir could produce a melody quite this dignified. Yet at the same time, the scorn seeping into the voice was all too evident. Only upon the eve of the apocalypse itself could such a voice be conceived of as an angel's. Its song of the dead was scorn, ridicule, and mockery, deriving the utmost pleasure in trampling upon every last remnant of the dignity they possessed. The voice of a destroyer intoxicated by mayhem. This was the product of a black mind possessed solely by an inhuman malice.
Requiem aeternam donai, Domi et lux perpetua luciat eis.
And so, stepping onto the vast expanse of debris, the destroyer appeared, that demonic requiem at his lips.
Oh shit, is that the
That's a Hugo Boss uniform.
it's just a femboy. Never mind.
It was a young boy, lacking in years even in comparison to Marco, with a face so delicate that a careless glance could easily mistake his features for those of a girl's. A single look at the boy was enough to give Walter chills. His teeth began to chatter.
Oh, right. Tanya the Evil. Tanya
Although he had
What's her
lost a
name?
considerable amount of blood and his vision had grown hazy, yes, it's Tanya the Evil that you're thinking of. No, that's actually a chick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a femboy, which is half a chick, so...
The reasoning behind the freezing chill on his back lay elsewhere, that being Sang's weird logic. The sheer enmity and bane radiating from the boy's visage indeed contributed to that. But to Walter, the most dreadful thing was the fact that he knew that face. There lived no man who'd fought on the Eastern Front and knew not of this boy. A beast possessed by an insatiable hunger, his aberrant mind ruled by inhuman madness. His single eye gleamed, silver locks swaying. He gripped a pair of guns, each engraved with a Wolfsangel, the rune of the wolf. There was no doubt, it was a face Walter could never forget. The face of a boy who had supposedly died 3 years ago. That's Walter.
Schreiber.
Okay. Eastern Front Assault Corps, Special Unit Leader, SS Major Wolfgang Schreiber. An unchained beast that slaughtered both friend and foe. The ashen demon that had supposedly met his end during a purge. How could he be standing here?
Listen, Major Walter Gerlitz. I sure caused trouble for you and the rest of Einsatzgruppen, didn't I? You doing well?
Hardly the words one would offer a dying comrade, especially one whose death was most likely caused by Schreiber himself. The boy flashing an innocently devilish smile in front of Walter was no doubt the very same person he remembered. And yet, his armband bore not the swastika, but a different symbol altogether, almost as if he were no comrade at all.
Why are you here?
I'm here because of misfortune, much like
You're,
possession.
still a little muffled, by the way, Jolly.
Oh my god. Anyway, okay, am I clear now?
Yeah, whatever situation you're at with your mic works best there.
Oh yeah. The reason I'm here because I'm a soldier, much like yourself. War is your possession. Murder occurs.
The boy playfully surveyed the landscape. It was proof enough of his statement, and what followed was nothing short of unnatural. Something akin to opaque vapor erupted in their vicinity, like a fog or a haze. At the same time, Walter's senses were assaulted by a dreadful moaning. These were the cursed cries of the fallen, fated to suffer and lament until the very end of time. This endless chorus of lamentation caused even the seething air of the battlefield to cool. These were the spirits of the dead. Walter felt like he could almost make out the faces of Marco and Joachim among the swirling mass, as well as the destination towards which they were spiraling. Straight into Schreiber's Totenkopf eye patch. He was devouring the very souls of those he had slain. Confronted with such a repulsive, unworldly spectacle, Walter could not determine whether he should give himself over to rage or simply weep. He longed for the repose of insanity.
Well then, my dear Master Sergeant, time for me to take off? Farewell.
Schreiber, seemingly done with his meal, wearily turned his neck to Walter. He was breathing his last, not in any condition to spill blood like a soldier should.
Do you not hunger for more? Of course, spending hundreds or thousands of rats won't change anything for this one. But that doesn't mean we need to sit there and watch things crumble. Look around here. Look at you, Berlin. Is this the end of our glorious empire? We're told to stand strong for 1,000 years. Will you be seriously content with this?
Content?
No one, right?
Walter threw a piercing glance at the smiling boy. Indeed, no one in their right mind would be content with such an outcome. He'd had friends to call his own, a family to go home to, a woman to love. He'd cherished this country. All that became tainted due to Germany's defeat. Dishonor that no centuries could wash clean. That was...
Yeah. The defeat is what dishonors them. Yeah. The defeat. Sorry.
Yeah, the defeat was what dishonored Germany, not anything else they were doing, okay?
Not nothing else. You're right, yeah.
And
not their KD, right? Not their KD. You know?
Not just like how the only thing that dishonored Japan was it losing.
The power of the rising sun. Or I guess falling sun in that case. Anyway, go on, Jolly. Try to keep the situation you got going for the clarity.
Unforgivable, right? Those repugnant lowlives tore down our walls and trampled upon our great capital, killed our children, raped our women, and our elders. My dear Master Sergeant Walter Garrett, sworn in loyalty to the German army, I ask of you, what do you do there?
I wish I was 1A.
Please have more realistic wishes.
The amount of blood leaking forth from Walter's mouth made speech difficult, but his feelings were set. He wanted to BTFO power scalers. Joachim, who vowed to fight to the bitter end and then got bullet diffed. Marco, who wished for victory and then showed an increasingly high resilience feat. Their feelings as well as his own.
Wait, does that mean the less fanatics you are, the stronger your durability is?
The boy standing before him was unmistakably from the fold of the devil, from space battles in Reddit. But such things mattered little at that point. What he wanted was...
I want to emerge victorious by being 1A!
Victory, honor, and glory for the fatherland.
Stop asking for such like 1A or
Yeah.
Help me make me solo the Nasuverse.
Like, you're fanatic enough.
Remember, he scales to heaven rendering attack, you know?
To bring peace for friends and family that had fallen.
He doesn't scale this shit.
To bring prosperity for verses or generations yet unborn. And above all else, for his very own soul.
Deltarune?
Say hail, Master Sergeant. That's correct, Master Sergeant. What a beautiful display of will and bravery. You deserve the honor to become his flesh and blood.
Is this the exact moment that Walter Gerlitz becomes his flesh and blood?
Wait, is this Jesus Christ? Wait, no, sorry, Walter. Jesus Christ is the one that gives his blood, not get eat. Well, technically, Jesus Christ did get eaten. Sorry, corrected.
Anyways, This war will never end. We will not allow it. We will repeat it again and again and again and again.
Are we really gonna have to do this campaign again?
Grant us victory.
Grant us one recording.
Are we gonna do the first session 3 million times for eternity?
What are you talking about? This is the first time.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying we don't. He says he doesn't want to. Is the thing. Yeah, he's not saying this is not our first time. He's not saying. Yeah.
Going on. Let us journey together to our endless battlefield until victory is in our hands.
We shall claim victory in the next war, if not in the one after that. Hundreds and thousands and millions of battles repeating over and over again till this outcome can finally be toppled. Schreiber thrust his Mauser in Walter's direction as the last light of the man's soul began to fade.
Requiem aeternam donais, domi et lux perpetuum luciates.
His requiem was one of scorn for the fallen, pregnant with malicious intent. And yet, Walter thought it beautiful, like the song of an angel. It was then that he finally realized that this was the apocalypse, and that he would soon join the ranks of those marching to destroy the world. He would become a strand of the beast's mane, one of many in his legion. The boy gazed to the heavens that he had just rended and offered up a splitting cackle, his silver hair dancing. The soul of Walter Gelitz was sucked into the boy's blood-crazed eye and vanished. At the same time, in another place, a new nightmare.